Welcome, welcome, welcome to 30 Days of Illumination. Today is day 7, and I'm going to be talking to you all about the signs you know you're a healer. So thank you for being here with me. I'm so excited to share in this journey with you. It's been illuminating so far based on the feedback that I've heard from others. People are sharing their aha moments with me, and I would love to hear yours as we continue along this journey together. So I'm excited to share this topic with you because I really truly feel that this is the year of the light worker. This is something that Lee Harris, who's an intuitive, he shared in his yearly forecast for 2024. And I truly feel that it's the year of the light worker to rise up because consciousness is rising on the planet and we're here to make an impact. And if you feel this calling and this connection to the word light worker, or maybe you just know that you want to make an impact on the planet, then you are a light worker, and that can show up in so many different ways. So I'm Sarah Shirley. I'm an intuitive healer, a spiritual teacher, a channel, a medicine woman, and I consider myself a light worker. And this has been such a beautiful journey of stepping into myself as such, and I want to share that with you today. So before I dive into it, I want to share that I'm hosting a free masterclass coming up on February 13th. It's called Release Religious Wounding, and it's going to be 3 days. It's free right now. I will be bundling this up and charging for it afterwards, so hit it while it's hot and while it's free, and you can come join us. It will be very powerful and very transformative and illuminating as well. Excuse me, because many of us carry religious wounding, whether we're aware of it or not, and it can be from this lifetime, from past lives, or ancestrally. And so we'll be working to clear that away for you, whatever is ready to be released right now, and to help you reconnect to source and to spirit and to a higher power. So I hope you'll join. You can check out the link in my bio or in the comments below, or you can always send me a message and I will share the registration link with you. So hope to see you there next week. So before we go in, I want to share what's my definition of a healer. And I think it's really important to be aware of this because I don't believe that we are actually healing others. I believe that we as healers, quote unquote, and as I label myself as such, we are a bridge for people. A bridge between that person that we're working with or the group of people and spirit. And we're here to hold this higher vibration and this vision for people, for their healing, for their growth, for their expansion. And as light workers, we can see the light in others, and we can also often see the shadows that need to be released in order for that person to truly be in their light. So just remembering, we're not actually healing, we're helping and being a bridge for that, using our gifts to help bring forward information, to bring forward messages, to help bring forward practices, to help others heal. The person who's receiving the healing needs to be willing to do that healing themselves. This is super, super, super important because then they take ownership of their own journey and their own power. So it's your job as a healer to empower others to help themselves heal. So that's something that's so beautiful and so empowering for the people that you're supporting and working with. So it's also about space holding and just creating that space for beauty and for love for others to grow and to heal and rise. So that's my definition of a healer. I don't believe we're actually doing the healing for others. We're a bridge. And my knowing personally came very clearly in a dream, and I'm going to share that afterwards. But right now I want to dive into what are the signs that you are a healer. And I'm curious if you resonate with all of these or with some of these, and just know that it's different for everybody because we all have different gifts and different light to share with the world. So the first sign is that you have a high level of empathy. You feel for others. You can empathize with what they're going through and with their pain. So this is something that's really important. If you consider yourself an empath, it's likely because you have healing gifts to share with the world. There's a reason why you can feel so much. And people might naturally gravitate towards you for support, for comfort, and for advice. Do you ever have random strangers come up and talk to you and start telling you their story or sharing their stuff with you? It's probably because you emanate this healing vibe, this healing frequency to others, and they feel it. People are gravitated towards that. You might also have a really strong or like a healing and calm presence that people just enjoy being around. You feel good for others to be around. So that's another sign that you're a healer and you have the gifts to help support others. People are drawn to you. Compassion is another big one. So being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and feel for their pain and to not judge them where they're at. And this is not always like 100% true because we're human and we might have judgment towards other people and what they're going through. But if you have a high level of compassion, care for others, and love, then that's a sign also that you are a healer and you can help support others. Another big piece is that you have a calling to help alleviate the suffering of those around you. You want to help people because you see them suffering and you know you can help support. And I'll talk in another session about boundaries as a healer, because that's actually extremely, extremely important to have healthy boundaries. Because what I've noticed is that, like, I can help a lot of people and everyone basically because I can see and sense so much. But I realized I was completely draining myself. And so there needs to be some sort of exchange in some ways. And not always. Sometimes it's like purely from your heart and purely you want to give. But there needs to be a level of awareness around how much you're giving and to who. So that's a big piece. Is like you have this calling that you want to make an impact on the planet and help others and raise the vibration of the planet. You might also be a really deep thinker and feeler. And you don't feel called to small talk or like light topics. You want to go deep. That's what moves you, is depth. You're willing to maybe talk about things and go places that most people aren't willing to go. And I think that's really helped me in my ability to help others, is that I go very, very deep in my work, in myself, my own inner work. And because of that capacity to do so, it helps me bring other people really deep. So don't be afraid of the depths. This is a way you can keep honing your skills as a healer, is to keep practicing going deeper inside yourself and in your own journey. That will help you not be afraid to hold deep space for other people. So you might also have very sensitive intuition. I talked in one of the previous days about being highly sensitive. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend going back and checking it out, because a lot of that is related to what I'm sharing today. Being highly sensitive is a gift because you can perceive through your nervous system things that not a lot of people can perceive, and your awareness can be a lot deeper because of that. So your sensitivity is a gift, and your intuitive messages, your intuitive abilities help other people as well. So if you have a high level of intuition, maybe you get visions, maybe you hear messages from spirit, maybe you are able to perceive like spirits, people who have passed on to the other side. Some people have those gifts developed early in childhood, and some people keep those gifts their whole lives, and others end up closing them off because of the messaging that we've received from others. I know this is common that young children are able to perceive, for example, let's say ghosts, spirits that have passed on to the other side, and their families get scared about that, and so they tell them that's bad and wrong. So some of us, we close off our gifts. And the beautiful thing is that you still have access to them, and that intuition can be developed. So if you have some intuition, just know that it can be continuously developed and strengthened and deepened so that you can continue to support others. And another piece is that you trust your inner guidance. I trust my body a lot. I've worked very hard to tune into the wisdom of my body. I often place my hands on my body when I want to ask myself questions and to tune in to see what feels true inside of me. So a sign that you're a healer as well is that you listen to those messages inside of yourself. And don't worry if you're at the place where you doubt yourself. I was there too, and it took a lot of practice and just showing up consistently and working with people to continuously deepen my own trust in my gifts as well. That's beautiful. You'll notice maybe signs coming along the way, people coming to encourage you, and maybe this moment right now is one where you're receiving encouragement to keep practicing and trusting yourself, because I really believe that to always follow our intuition and our intuitive messages, because even if it leads us kind of the wrong way, it'll always lead you to the right place at the end of the day. It'll always lead you to a place of learning and growth, and you can trust in that. So let me know how this is landing for you. If any of these signs that you already have them in you already, I'm curious to hear that. And I'm also curious to hear, where is your level of trust in yourself? Do you trust your intuitive messages that come through? Because so many of us, we get them, but then we push them aside. We use our minds and our logic instead of our intuition and our feeling to guide our lives. So I'm curious, what's your relationship with that, with trusting your intuition right now? Another aspect, another sign of being a healer is that you can easily connect with spirit guides, ascended masters, gods, goddesses, nature, and animals. And then also maybe some of us can connect with beings who have passed on to the other side. And again, if you aren't at that place right now, it's totally okay. But if there's this desire and longing inside of you to connect on a deeper level, you can trust that that's a sign also. And I encourage you to follow through with that, to keep exploring, to find your path. And actually, this is a beautiful time to share my story about how I got onto this path as a healer. And I actually was going through a really tough time in my life where I felt completely lost, totally disconnected from my purpose. I had no money. It was like November and it was so dark outside in Canada. And I just felt so depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. And January 1st came and I had this big meltdown, completely realizing how disconnected I was from myself, how tight my throat was and how blocked I was. And I made a decision that something needed to change. And then very soon after that, I had this dream. So that can be another aspect that you're a healer, is that you have very vivid dreams and strong messages come through in your dreams. And at that time, I didn't really have a lot of dreams that I remembered and that were potent. But this dream came through in like early that year, like a couple of weeks later. And the dream was me telling somebody that I was going to become a healer. And he was somebody in Toronto who was like quite out there in the spiritual community leading events. And so I saw him as a healer. And I said to him in the dream, I'm going to become a healer. And he kind of laughed and didn't really believe me at first. But then I said it again, no, I'm going to become a healer. And I said it with a lot of conviction and he believed me. And I was like, wow, when I woke up in the morning, I just was like so in awe of this dream because it was so clear and so vivid. And I knew I needed to act on it. So I shared it with somebody. And, we were at a cafe co-working and she said, you should take a Reiki training. And she said, I know this teacher who's teaching a course literally this weekend. And she's a great teacher. I've worked with her before and you should sign up. And so I just did. And that's what propelled me forward on this path. It was just following my intuition, or the guide, like the nudges from spirit and from the world. And in this case, this woman who said to me, go try. And I was like, you know what? That feels good. I'm going to try. Yes, I love that you're learning to trust your intuition. That's so beautiful. So good. Keep trusting. It's there for a reason, Listen to those little inner nudges that come from the inside. So that was my story. And it came through in a dream. And for you, it might come through in a different way. And it might just be this knowing. And so trust the things that appear in your life and act on them one step at a time. Doesn't need to be this huge leap all of a sudden, like you quit your full-time career and like without having any experience doing this work yet. And you decide, I'm going to help people. And you haven't had any training or anything. Like, I wouldn't suggest doing that. Like, take your time with it, explore, find what feels really true, and know that part of being a healer is also doing your own inner work. This is huge. It's really important because the more you heal inside yourself and you learn about yourself, it actually helps you be able to help other people as well. So some more signs. You may receive insights or messages about people's emotions or situations without them even sharing. So let's say someone's talking to you and all of a sudden you just have this knowing, or something's coming up and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Have you thought about this, or have you explored this? And those are messages coming through, intuitive hits coming through to you. So if you're open to receive them, trust them. And again, you don't have to share them with everybody all the time. There needs to be some sort of financial exchange or energetic exchange when you're working with people. But this is a good sign that you're open to receive messages and that your intuition is flowing. You might also be a really good listener. Has anyone ever told you you're a good listener? Do people love coming to you and talking to you and sharing? Being a good listener is such a massive part of being a healer. It's something that I've really honed in on throughout my time of working with people. So a lot of times people just need to be heard. and like to be listened to by a compassionate witness. So there's that word compassion again. A witness who's there to see the person and say, wow, I totally feel you. I understand. That must be difficult. And to really be there fully with full presence. Another sign is that you've always felt different or like you don't belong. Many people who are healers are actually star seeds. They come from the stars. And a lot of times can be very gifted in the third eye. But what happens is that many star seeds also don't feel grounded on earth. They don't feel like they belong. And this is a big wound that many of us carry as light workers and healers. Actually, it's feeling different, like we don't belong. So it's really about, it's like the journey of self-love and self-acceptance. And once you find your tribe, everything starts to just flow from there and expand, because you're not alone in that feeling. You know, you're not alone in the desire to go deeper and to, you know, connect more deeply and to feel nature more fully and to care about the deeper things in life. You're not alone. Another big sign, and this is huge for me, is that you come from a family with a lot of trauma and wounding and struggles. And I've seen this in so many of my dear friends, my close friends who are very strong and powerful healers. They've been through a lot in their lives. Oftentimes we choose, like, no, not oftentimes, I believe we choose our families. We choose to incarnate into these families, and they're teachers for us. And so we've been through a lot of wounding, and our capacity to heal those wounds and to alchemize them into power, so we turn our pain into power, that's what helps us be able to help others. So you know what it's like to be wounded. You know what it's like to feel pain, to feel trauma. And you also know what it's like, because of the work that you're doing and that you've done and that you continue to do. You also know what it's like to rise and to shed that pain and to not let it hold you back anymore. So that's a big one for healers. You often come from a family with a lot of trauma. And perhaps you played the role of healer in your family. Guilty. Playing this role of healer and helping our families, because in my family, my brother died when I was 2 years old, and there was a lot of pain and a lot of struggle. And because of my capacity as someone who's very highly sensitive and empathic, I did do a lot of that healing in my family. And only within the last, I'm going to say 6 years or so, have I learned to help others in a way that's also helpful for me. Because a lot of it I was doing from this kind of wounded healer place, and overgiving and overhelping and trying to fix people, and especially trying to fix people who didn't want to be fixed. I don't like this word fix in general, but it's like that was the energy that I was operating with, and trying to force people to see things, and especially my family. And I've had to work a lot on that to let go of those patterns so that I can be in this healthier place of helping support others as well. So let me know if you resonate. Do you come from a family with a lot of wounding? I'm curious to hear in the comments what that's been like for you in this lifetime. Yeah, and as I was sharing, and I wrote down here, it's important for healers to have healthy boundaries and not help all of the time just because they can, but because you want to, and when there's some sort of exchange involved. This is a fundament, like a baseline that I learned right from the beginning when I started this path in my Reiki training, is that the founder of Reiki, of this lineage that I work with, Master Soooo, he talks about that there needs to be an energetic exchange. Otherwise, the person is not taking full responsibility for their own healing. So boundaries, 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 and we will explore that more in another day as well. I have so much to teach about boundaries. You might also feel, another sign of being a healer is you might feel a strong connection to a higher power, and that might operate quite strongly in your life. Or if you're not there yet, you might feel this deep desire to establish that. And for most of my life, I was quite blocked in my connection to spirit, like very blocked. But I always had this longing to connect more deeply. And for me, I found that connection through the earth. And that was such a beautiful gift for me. And since then, after establishing what felt like for me a safe connection with the earth and trees, especially, and animals, I was then able to start opening more to ascended masters and angels and God, like different goddesses especially. Those are the beings that I work with the most, and my higher self as well. So also you might feel this calling right now where you're at in your life, and this attraction to different types of healing modalities. You might feel this attraction towards self-improvement and self-awareness practices. Maybe breath work is calling you, maybe Reiki. There's so many different types of practices, embodiment practices, Tantra. There's so many that can pull us, and trust those pulls when those different modalities are calling you to connect with them and to work with them and find mentors in those areas. So this is something I actually do offer one-on-one at the moment, is one-on-one healer training with my clients. And it's a very powerful 9-month container where we can work together, and I teach you all these different modalities. And I have a little secret, shh, don't tell anybody. I am planning on launching a new program soon. So I'll be announcing that quite soon. I'm really excited. It's going to be so beautiful and so powerful. And yeah, the frequencies, the channeling, the messages are coming through quite strongly to share this, and I can't wait to share it with you. So keep an eye out. So just know that all these signs of being a healer are different for everybody. You might resonate with everything I shared today. You might resonate with some. You might feel different levels of resonance with the signs that I've shared today. And just know that that's because we're all different, and we all have our own unique path and our own unique journey and different light to share with the world. So follow what feels the most true to you. And I also truly believe that it's important to get training. So like I shared earlier, don't just jump and like leave your full-time career and jump into, I'm going to help people, when you don't really have any training yet, you don't have any business like know-how or about entrepreneurship or anything like that. Find a mentor, somebody who can train you and teach you and show you the way, somebody who's been where you are and who has moved forward past, the blocks that you're carrying right now and has found some success in what they're offering. Somebody that you feel trust with and that you resonate with as well. And if you feel that's me, definitely reach out. We can talk for a heart-to-heart. I would love to connect with you and see how I can support you and help you feel more empowered in your gifts and in your intuition and in your capacity as a healer. So I'm excited because, next week, my free masterclass is coming up, Release Religious Wounding. I would love for you to join. You can sign up at the link in my bio or in the comments below, or you can just DM me and I'll send you the registration link. It's going to be a very powerful masterclass that will help clear, especially for those of us who feel it's calling to be a healer, it's going to help clear some of the blocks of persecution that you may have experienced from religions in the past, or the fear of stepping up bigger and showing yourself and being different from what's the norm out there. So if you feel that call, join us. It's free. It'll be beautiful. We'll be a really gorgeous group of humans that are on this path of exploration, and it'll give you the opportunity to meet other people who are also interested in this, this path and helping others and making the world a better place. So thank you for being here today. Tomorrow I'm going to be talking about why shadow work is necessary in order to truly grow in your journey. And that's going to be really enlightening. I have lots of stories to share around shadow work and how much it's helped me and helped my clients. Just wow, to bring those, the shadows, I'll share more about it tomorrow, but it's the shadows are those parts that are kind of hidden, that are beyond our awareness, but that operate us, that make us operate on so many different levels of unconsciousness and do the things we actually don't want to do and hold us back from doing what we actually came here to do. So that's an important topic tomorrow that I'll be covering. And then moving forward, I'll be talking about what is the dark night of the soul and so on and so forth. So if you resonate with this content, I invite you to please share it with your friends, to share it on your stories or your feed. And I can't wait to see you in the upcoming days. So I'm sending you so much beauty and so much love, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everyone.